Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Happy Halloween, my Loverlies. Happy Halloween. Guys, I know most of us celebrated Halloween last weekend, did all of our trick-or-treating and all that good stuff, but because today is Halloween, I kind of wanted to give one last hurrah, do one last ode to Halloween. So we're going to do my favorites of Halloween makeup tag. We're going to talk all things Halloween, all the things that I love about spooky season. We're going to do this really, really funky orange and green graphic liner eye look, and we're just going to have some fun. We are going to ignore this visitor I have going on my face. I can't. Oh my goodness, it hurts. It's like one of those under the skin ones. Oh, it's a pain in the hiney, a pain in the face, really. We're going to ignore that. We're going to play with some makeup. We're going to have a nice conversation. Hopefully you guys have a big old glass of sweet tea or a cup of hot coffee and have a little while to sit back and relax, kind of hang out with me for just a little bit. We're going to use the Blend Bunny Surge palette to do this eye look today. I used my Amazon Neon Pigments to do this eye, but my eye is so watery today. Seasonal allergies, watery eyes, and makeup are never a good combination, and my tears are just kind of trying to wash the makeup away, so I'm hoping that the Blend Bunny palette will kind of stick to my eye just a little bit better. We shall see. Hopefully it hangs around long enough for me to at least get a couple of pictures. So the first question in this tag is, what is the first palette you used in October? And I had to scroll back through all of my pictures because I could not remember for the life of me. And the first palette I used was this Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless We Are Love palette. This is a Pride palette they did a couple years ago. I actually really enjoy this palette. It is a true rainbow palette, but I love this bright green in here. And then I really enjoy the assortment of purples that you have in here. I think it just kind of lends itself to Halloween looks really, really easily. It is not the best eyeshadow formula known to man, but it is pretty nice. It's very, very workable, very buildable, and I enjoy this. On top of that, it's super, super affordable. This one, because it's an older release, I got it on sale. I think I paid like $3 for it. So yeah, love this palette. This is the first palette that I used this month. And the next question is, do you prefer purple and green versus orange and black, I think? Yeah, so purple and green versus orange and black. And what palette do you use when you go for that color combo? So I'm going to give you guys just a second if you want to pause the video and let me know in the comments below which you think I like better, purple and green or orange and black. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, guys, I love purple and green together. I think they are so incredibly beautiful. I use them all the time. Halloween spooky season is just like my absolute favorite because I can use those color combos and it be of the season. You can't really see purple and green together and not think Halloween or Mardi Gras, something to that effect. They're just very, very seasonal colors, and it's a very distinctive color combination, and it's one of my favorites. So when I can, I go hard. I go hard on the purple and green. And then on top of that, it says, what is the palette in your collection that is your go-to for that color combination? And guys, this should be a pretty easy one. This one right here. This is my Be Perfect collab. This is the Be Perfect Scepter palette. Can't talk today again. It is the Scepter palette. This is their collaboration with the Vivienne. She is an absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal drag queen. This is one of my favorite. This is probably my favorite Be Perfect palette of all time. I adore this thing. So you open it up, and this is the color story. I love the fact that you have this giant white and giant black over here. It is an artistry-based palette, and I adore it for that. You also have a contour color, a blush, and two amazingly beautiful highlights. My best and most favorite part of this palette, though, is this green right here. This green is called Toxic. Waste, sorry. It's called Waste. And it is the most insanely, I have to put it on my eye. Just because I have to show you guys. I'm literally about to hit pan on it. It is the most gorgeous, gorgeous, beautifully pigmented, toxic sludge green color. I just love it so, so much. It is my go-to. This green and this purple, this matte purple together are just absolutely everything. 9 times out of 10 if I'm trying to do like a super bright but easy kind of purple and green look, this is the palette that I go for. And then on top of that, you have beautiful bright oranges in here, you have pink, you have every color you would ever need. This is like my perfect palette. I love this thing so, so, so very much. It is my go-to for green and purple. Love this. Love, 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 love. Let's put it away. Guys, I have been having the worst time remembering where I'm sticking all of my palettes. I'm doing a declutter at the moment. And for some reason, like, not for some reason, but because I'm reorganizing and going through everything, I keep putting stuff places and not remember where I'm putting it. So I've been, like, before I started filming, I was hunting. Oh, you know, I love the Blend Bunny Surge palette. I really, really do. But there is something about these neon loose pigments. Just the color payoff is absolutely everything. I don't even know what brand this is. This is some random brand. It's called MYNENA. Yeah, Mynena. It is, that's the brand. I got it off of Amazon. They were like 20 bucks, a little expensive, but guys, these are so good. They're so pigmented. They actually stick to the eye pretty well when it's not watering and like actively trying to ruin my eye makeup, but the actual pigmentation on these is just absolutely insane. This green one is probably one of my favorites. I can't even say that because I love all of the shades in here, but this like vivid green is absolutely stunning. Perfect, perfect, perfect for Halloween. It's just absolutely neon and fluorescent. They're so, so pretty. So I went ahead and I used this one because I just needed that punch of green on my eye. I went in with the green pigment on the Beetlejuice X Revolution. It's just a fluffy kind of eyeshadow brush, and just buffed that onto my transition area. Thank you. Come again. So yes, that is my favorite color combination for spooky season. Green and purple, my absolute everything. The next question is, if you were a witch, who would you be and why? Now, guys, I didn't pre-think about these questions or like pre-answer the questions because I really kind of wanted to do it with you guys. But let's think. So obviously the first witches that come to mind are the Sanderson sisters. And I think there is something about Winifred Sanders, she is so completely honest, right? She just absolutely does not care what anyone has to say. She is completely and uniquely herself. She says what she wants to say. She does what she wants to do. She is completely unbothered by other people's opinions. And I think there is something completely and totally freeing about that. I just think, you know, we all have that little bit of bad inside of us, and she just kind of completely and unabashedly embraces that. And there's something I really, really love about that. So probably Winifred Sanders, but I think that might be too easy. So what's another? Ooh, Sabrina. No, not Sabrina. Samantha. I absolutely adore like old TV shows, right? Like really, really old TV shows, 50s, 60s, things like that. And there was a show called Bewitched. I'm sure you guys all know exactly who I'm talking about or what show I'm talking about. But the main character, the main heroine, her name is Samantha, and she is a witch, but she lives in the mortal world, but her parents are crazy, and she has crazy cousins, and her life is always, but she loves, I probably would be Samantha. I would be Samantha. And I know that's kind of like, but it just seems like she has everything figured out. Not only that, but she's the queen of the witches. Like, yeah, I would definitely be Samantha. Next question. What is your favorite spooky sub genre. So vampires, witches, werewolves, ghosts, things like that. I didn't think about this one either. So what is my favorite subgenre? Let's think about this for a second. So I read a lot of like paranormal romances and things like that. I am an avid reader. And I do enjoy the kind of, you know, spooky romance every once in a while. And I think I kind of gravitate towards, I guess I kind of gravitate towards vampires, just because, you know, they're sexy and they're powerful and they're confident and you know, all of the things that, you know, we as women try to be on a daily basis. They just kind of, it just kind of comes naturally to them. So I might be a vampire. Vampires might be my favorite, but I also, of course, really love, you know, witches have powers. But I think I wouldn't want to be a vampire because, you know, they live forever and I don't want to do that. I don't want to live forever. And I don't know that I really want to be like a werewolf or something that like, maybe I could be like a were-leopard, or maybe I could turn into like maybe I could be a were-something. Maybe I could be a were-bird. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to just like fly? Like, I think that would be nice. So maybe were-animals. I'm going to say were-animals. Maybe not necessarily werewolves, but maybe were-animals are my favorite sub-genre. I think that might be it. I would love to know what your guys' is, though. Definitely, I'm going to put all the questions in this tag in the description box below, along with everything that I'm using, because I'm probably not going to be talking about the makeup I'm using too awful much. What is on my nose? But I will post all of the questions in the description box. And if you guys would like to, I would love to hear your answers in the comments. That way we can kind of get to know each other just a little bit more. But I think my favorite genre, I definitely don't want to be a ghost. When I move on, I want to move on. I don't want to be a vampire because I want to be able to move on at some point. So I definitely think it would have to be, and I don't really want to be, I mean, I could be a witch, I guess. I could be, excuse me, I could be maybe a good witch, but I think I'm going to stick to like a were-animal because I think it would be a lot of fun to be able to kind of turn into an animal at will, especially if I could turn into a bird and kind of fly away. Maybe not, you know, not like fly away from like my life or whatever, but just to be able to experience flying, I think would be absolutely amazing. So final answer, a were-animal. The next question is, what is your favorite spooky movie, book, and show? So my favorite spooky movie would have to be, oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something super scary. I'm gonna go with Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. And the reason I'm gonna say that one is because the first time I watched it, it absolutely terrified me. I literally had nightmares about that movie. And if you've never seen it, it's really not that scary. It's about tooth fairies. And they kind of, I don't want to ruin it for you, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but it's called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and it's by Guillermo del Toro, and he is absolutely one of my very favorite directors of all time. He is absolutely amazing. I love his aesthetic. I love everything about his movies, from the music he chooses to the lighting to, like I said, the aesthetic. His movies are just so incredibly beautiful. There's also this movie called Pan's Labyrinth that is my favorite movie of all time. It's a pretty obscure movie and it's kind of like a cult classic, but it's also directed by Guillermo, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's creepily beautiful in the best way possible. It's just visually stunning to watch, and most of his movies are like that. He has a very particular aesthetic that he kind of sticks to. And there was this one movie that he did. It was a big movie that he did not too long ago. And what was it called? The Shape of Water. Oh, so good. So, so good. If you guys have never seen that movie, please go check that out. The Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth. And Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. They're all just incredibly creepy, but beautiful to watch. They're fantastic. I absolutely love him. He's my favorite, like, spooky director of all time. My favorite, let's say, my favorite spooky book, oh, okay, so House of Night. So when I was, again, I am a very avid reader. I'm voracious. I'm a voracious reader. I love to read. And when I was probably like a preteen into my teens, there was this series, and it was called The House of Night. And I devoured there's like maybe, I want to say like 12 or 13 books in this series, and it's about this young girl, and she's a vampire, but there are different kinds of vampires. They have these incredibly beautiful, like, vivid sapphire tattoos, and they get marked, and the vampire, the goddess NYX, is the leader of their vampires. They're like spiritual vampires. Like, they drink blood and stuff like that, and they can't be out in the sunlight, but it's more of like a religion or a spirituality than it is really like kind of vampires, but they're still vampires, so I think it counts. But she gets marked, and she has to go to the House of Night, which is this school, which is this school that all the vampires go to. It's just really, really awesome. I literally have every single book, and I have had every single book in the series since I was like 16. And I can't remember the name of the author right off the top of my head, but it is, if you guys like, and it's about this girl, and she's like she got a really terrible home life, so being marked as a vampire is kind of like the best thing that happens to her, and she's super special, and she's very, very powerful, as most of those books go. But she goes to the House of Night, she makes all kinds of friends, and she gets betrayed, but it's just great. It's just a really, really great book. And the reason I love the series so much is that the series grows. Like, as she gets older, the books get older. The tone of the books get older. And it was a series that I was able to grow with, it's absolutely fantastic. If you guys have ever read that series, please let me know in the comments below. Maybe we'll have something to talk about, because I reread it every couple of years. I reread the entire series because it's just so good. The main villainess in the whole series is called Nefertiti. Or Nefret, I think. But she is just, she's a bad guy. And she's like sickening. She just enjoys, those villains that just enjoy being bad, right? She is one of those. And it's just, it's a great series. So definitely my favorite. And she just gets increasingly more cruel and increasingly darker as the series continues. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic series. Again, that was House of Night. And I love it so very much. My favorite show, my favorite spooky show. Let's see. My favorite spooky show, I would have to say, would be, let's do The Twilight Zone. I adore old TV shows, like anything that's like in black and white, things like that. I just really get into, and I really, really enjoy. And probably, I want to say a year ago, I found the complete series of The Twilight Zone on DVD at Walmart, and I picked it up. It was pretty affordable. But I had only ever seen a couple of episodes of The Twilight Zone, kind of here and there on TCM and things like that. But there was a point where we didn't have internet, we didn't have cable and things like that. So we were just going through movie after movie after movie. And I really got into old TV series. And I watched The Twilight Zone. And I tell you what, that show was way before its time. Like, even, it's more of like a mind bender kind of thing. Maybe not necessarily like oogie boogie kind of creepy, but definitely psychologically creepy, because some of the episodes will just have you kind of scratching your head and being like, huh? There are so many insanely classic episodes I could talk about. I could talk about the Twilight Zone for absolutely forever. But one of them in particular I keep thinking of is there is this woman, and she is in this house. She's in the middle of nowhere. She's a rural kind of farmer. And she's like, I think it's been a while since I've seen this episode. But she is a lady alone in this farmhouse. She doesn't have power and things like that. And she's just kind of going about her day, trying to, I think, get ready for bed, fix herself supper, things like that. And these things keep happening, right? Like, she keeps hearing these noises, or things keep getting moved. And it's just really, really creepy. And then she keeps like, see, I can't even explain it because I don't remember everything about it. But I know that the twist at the end is that these little things that keep happening are humans, because the humans have visited this planet, right? We're exploring space, and we visited this planet, and she is actually a giant, right? And they kind of encountered this giant house, and they're just trying to observe her. It was creepy. It was kind of spooky to think about. But I remember that being one of my favorite episodes. There also was this episode where instead of going to prison and being punished in a penitentiary, if you were convicted of the big M or unaliving someone, they put you on a spaceship and they sent you to Mars, and you had to spend the rest of your life alone. And you think, oh, well, he deserves it, right? He deserves it because he hurt someone. But then by the end of it, you feel so bad for this man, because humans by nature are so social. And then to put someone, not even like to know that you couldn't even break free. There is literally no escape. You're on a completely different planet, and the sense of aloneness. I know that there is a better word for that, but the sense of just isolation. That is the word I'm looking for. The sense of the feeling of isolation is so profound. And then to know that you have to live the rest of your life never speaking to another being. It's like completely and totally daunting. And I feel like it is enough. It's enough to break somebody's mind. Yeah, I definitely think that The Twilight Zone was way, way, way before its time, and really quite fascinating. Quite a fascinating show to watch, especially if you like to ponder things, and really kind of like to challenge your perception of things. I think that show was really great at challenging your perception of, everyday things that we kind of take for granted. That show's kind of fantastic. So yes, that would be my favorite spooky show. The next question is, what spooky collab would you most like to see? So I don't want to pick something super like that's been done a million times before, because of course, like Hocus Pocus is so beloved, and maybe Halloween Town is a great Halloween movie from my youth that I absolutely adore, but I'm not sure if Halloween Town has been done before. And then you have Beetlejuice, of course, which is another fave, but it's been done 1,000,001 times. I wonder what a collab with like Guillermo del Toro. Could you imagine, if you're familiar with his work, could you imagine the kind of color palette that you could get from one of his movies? I would absolutely love to see a collaboration between Guillermo del Toro and what makeup brand? I want to say maybe a collaboration with Guillermo del Toro and let's say ColourPop because it would be incredibly affordable. Well, ColourPop really isn't known for their collaborations. So what is a brand that is really well known? Glamlight. Glamlight always does their collaborations so well. And on top of that, I'm super excited to try their formula for the first time. So I'm going to say Guillermo del Toro and Glamlight. Could you imagine the kind of palette that would result from that? Like, even if you just took the color palette from, let's say, the Shape of Water. If you took that color palette and put it into an actual palette, like, could you imagine how insanely beautiful that would be? I just think it would be hauntingly ethereal and just, oh, so beautiful. That would be a dream. That would be an absolute dream. Just to have, I would say, like a 24 pan palette of incredibly, and the thing about Guillermo is he's not afraid to do ugly. He can take ugly and somehow turn it into the most beautifully, like I said, ethereal and just, oh, I couldn't imagine how incredibly stunning a collaboration that would be. I feel like it would be worth its weight in gold, honestly. So yes, that would be my dream collaboration. I think I would pick the color palette of The Shape of Water because the color palette in that movie was, it was a lot of really beautiful, like, greens and blues and it was a lot of greens and blues, and it was a little bit gray and oh, it would be so pretty. I think that would be absolutely stellar. It says, favorite Halloween costume you ever wore. And this one is a super easy question because as a kid, we really didn't get dressed up very much. I don't really remember trick-or-treating very often. And back then, we didn't really have trunk or treats or anything like that. And we lived in a very, even more rural part of Georgia. When I was growing up, we lived in Georgia. And so we lived in the middle of nowhere, so trick-or-treating really wasn't an option. But before we moved to Georgia, I was actually born in Florida. And before we moved, my dad would take us to my aunt's. My aunt she's she's got money. So she lives in this very uppity kind of neighborhood. And you know, the kind of neighborhood where they give out full-size candy bars, the good stuff. So my dad would take us trick-or-treating. We went a couple years at my aunt's, in my aunt's, oh my goodness, neighborhood. And I remember that my mom bought me a costume, and I remember I was Cleopatra, and I remember I used to put, and it was a nice costume too, like it had all the jewelry and like the neck piece and the headdress and everything. I just felt so beautiful when I put it on. I want to say I was maybe like 5 or 6, but it was the most beautiful costume. And then I even had like this straight, long black wig. And, you know, I've got this big, curly, frizzy hair. And it was even worse when I was younger. So to go from like this big, curly, frizzy, blonde hair to having this really beautiful, sleek, black hair, I just felt like I was it. I was it. And I remember thinking I was so glamorous in my Cleopatra costume, and then I would put on all of my arm jewelry and put on my necklace, but it was like this big neck piece, you know. So yes, that was my absolute favorite Halloween costume of all time. My mom kept it for the longest time. I wore that costume. I want to say I wore that costume maybe like 4 or 5 years well, maybe not 4 or 5, but maybe 2 years in a row, 2 or 3. I wore it until one year I put it on and nothing fit anymore. I had outgrown my costume, and I remember bawling my eyes out. I remember just thinking, oh, I'm never trick-or-treating again. I absolutely loved that costume. I felt like the most beautiful little girl in the entire world when I would put it on. It was my very favorite part of Halloween. So yes, that was my favorite Halloween costume I have ever worn. I remember I was Cleopatra and my brother, I don't remember what my brother was. I think he was like an M&M or something because he was a baby. Because my brother's, he's a couple years, almost 5 years younger than me. And then I remember my sister had this really gorgeous, I was still a little chunky thing back then too. So I was Cleopatra. And then I remember my sister had this really beautiful kind of like French maid outfit. I know it doesn't sound great, but it was really cute. She had the fishnets on, and she had the skirt and the apron and the little feather duster, and it was short but not too short, still fitting for a young girl. Probably not appropriate, but times were different back then. But she had this French maid costume, and I was Cleopatra, and I think my brother was like an M&M or a peanut or something like that. It was a lot of fun. I loved that. That was my favorite Halloween like costume. And then it says, what costume did you always want to wear but couldn't? And this one is so incredibly easy because I've been trying to make it happen for absolutely ever. I so badly want to be an Oompa Loompa. I want my husband to be Willy Wonka, and I want to be an Oompa Loompa because I am perfectly fine in all of my rounded beautifulness, but I would be kind of a perfect Oompa Loompa, right? So I keep trying to find the white overalls and, you know, the striped shirt. I can never make it happen, but I really want I want me and Sean to be Oompa Loompas, and I want Mr. Hubby to be Willy Wonka because he's tall and thin. I just think it would be absolutely adorable. An Oompa Loompa. I've also always kind of wanted to, and a woman of power, you know. The thing about Halloween is you can either go really grotesque and scary, or you can go like the complete other way and be like super cute. You know, and kind of like be a little bit sexy. And I've never been one to really go super sexy, but I could be like super glamorous. I know that I've always wanted to go as Aretha Franklin as well. You know, if I wanted to be funny, I would do the Oompa Loompa. But one of the biggest things I've always wanted to be is Aretha Franklin. She is my absolute favorite songstress of all time. Her music is just absolutely phenomenal. I adore her. I adore her as a person. I adore her as a performer. She's just fantastic. I think she's gone now, so rest in peace. But she was my favorite performer of all time. Her music is just everything. It's just everything. And she was always so beautiful and glamorous to me. She always just kind of like owned herself, you know? And I've always just kind of wanted to go as like this kind of disco diva, you know? Find the really beautiful, sparkly kind of dress. That would be my like perfect kind of costume. Finding the floor length sequined ball gown with the gloves and the big hair, and yeah, I would absolutely love that. The next question is, what is your favorite Halloween treat? And this one I'm gonna definitely have to say is caramel apples. I adore caramel apples. They are so good. My favorite is the like caramel chocolate apples. They're so yummy. Every once in a while I luck out and I find one at either Walmart or something like that, and you'll find these really beautiful like gourmet caramel apples, and they'll have all kinds of really gorgeous like salted caramel, and on top of that they'll be drizzled with different kinds of chocolate. Like you'll have white chocolate and dark chocolate, and caramel apples. Caramel apples are my very favorite seasonal holiday treat. They are absolutely delicious and like my absolute favorites. And then the last question is, what is overall your favorite part of Halloween? And when I was younger, of course, my favorite part would have been all of the candy and, you know, the trick-or-treating and things like that. And as I've gotten older, Halloween has become less about me and more about just the feeling and the decorating and the making it special for my child. And I think I think that's my favorite part of Halloween now. I think my favorite part of Halloween is just making it magical for Sean. And at this point, he's getting to the point now where, you know, it's just kind of another day for him. He doesn't want to get dressed. He doesn't want to go trick-or-treating. He just kind of wants to stay home and be on his Switch, play his video games. And I completely understand it. We all outgrow Halloween at some point. But yeah, my favorite part is making it special and doing the decorations and just kind of basking in the spookiness of the season. Guys, that is going to be it for me today. I love you so, so very much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Of course, I will list everything that I used in today's video in the description box below. I am going to be posting finished pictures over on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. I will have all the tags to my other socials in the description box as well. If you're not following me on all my other socials, please make sure you go do that. I post fun content every single day, and if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. Guys, as always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera doing my makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful Halloween. Please know you are so, so very loved, and until next time, stay safe. Take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.